So, 1971. This wasn't just a good year for progressive rock, it was an eruption. Genesis were dropping 23-minute epics and, yes, redefined what rock could be. And Jethro Tull, well, they dropped a single-song album that really mocked concept records and accidentally made one of the best ones ever. Let's dive into the year progressive rock leveled up, 1971. Now, it didn't just grow in this year, it literally exploded. This was the year of the Mellotrons and the Moogs, the Epics and the Enigmas. Tracks stretched past 20 minutes regularly, time signatures broke into uncharted territory, and concept albums became the new normal. In 1971, progressive rock wasn't just some fringe experiment anymore, no. It was evolving fast, shedding its psychedelic skin and stepping confidently into something more ambitious, more theatrical, and often more bizarre. Now, the world was still reeling. Vietnam War, it raged on. The space race was winding down, but on the turntables of every dorm room, club, and candlelit bedroom, a new sound was dominating. This was a golden year, arguably the golden year for progressive rock. And here are just some of the albums that made 1971 a real landmark. Stick around to the end and I'll have some honourable mentions for you as well. Now, album number 1 is Fragile by Yes. Where else could we start? Now, this is the album really where Yes fully found their voice, and John Anderson's high tenor soared into prog legendaryship. Fragile was both a breakthrough and a blueprint. The soaring roundabout gave them their first real hit. I'll be the roundabout, the words will make you out. And while the multi-part Heart of the Sunrise showed off their virtuosity and emotional range. With Rick Wakeman newly on board, the keyboards became galaxies, not just instruments. Now, each member contributed a solo piece to this album. This is a really bold move that just somehow worked. This wasn't just a band, it was a collection of musical astronauts. Now, album number 2 is Aqualung by Jethro Tull. Now, forget the hits for a second. Aqualung isn't just a rock album, it's practically a philosophical treatise. Ian Anderson wields his flute like a sword, takes aim at religion, society and hypocrisy. Songs like My God and Locomotive Breath are layered, biting and filled with dramatic shifts. In the shuffling madness of the locomotive breath. It straddles the line between concept album and character study, mixing folk textures with hard rock music. This was Tull at their most powerful and most provocative. People, what have you done? Album number 3 is Nursery Grind by Genesis. Now, this is where things get very Genesis-y indeed. Peter Gabriel is now in full storyteller mode, delivering Victorian ghost tales and surreal theatre pieces over pastoral symphonies and sudden outbursts of ferocity. Musical Box is a 10-minute epic that starts as a lullaby and ends as an exorcism. Play me old King Cole. The Return of the Giant Hogweed is part comic book, part ecological warning. Steve Hackett joins the band here, bringing new textures and tapping techniques. Nursery Crime isn't just weird, it's beautifully weird. Album number 4 is Porn Hearts by the enigmatic Van der Graaf Generator. Now, this really isn't prog rock, this is prog opera, dark, dissonant and absolutely uncompromising. Porn Hearts is Peter Hamill's descent into the abyss, and he's dragging you in with him. A Plague of Lighthouse Keepers is a single 23-minute suite that sounds like a soundtrack to a fever dream. Waiting for my The saxes howl, the organs tremble, the lyrics feel like end-time scripture. It's one of the most daring albums ever released, and for some, one of the most rewarding. Now, album number 5 is Meddle by Pink Floyd. Now, before there was Dark Side of the Moon, and where that took over dorm rooms everywhere, there was Meddle. Now, this is Pink Floyd stretching their legs and testing the waters of long-form composition. Side 2 of the album is just literally one song, Echoes, a 23-minute journey from the bottom of the ocean to the edges of space.
Overhead, the albatross hangs motionless upon.
It's atmospheric, haunting, and really utterly transportive. Meanwhile, One of These Days introduces a bass-driven menace that would define their future. Metal is transitional, but in the best possible way. You can feel the future coming. Album number 6 is Acquiring the Taste by Gentle Giant. The title really says it all. This one isn't for casual listeners. No. Gentle Giant pushed every boundary here. Medieval harmonies, shifting rhythms, counterpoints galore. Acquiring the Taste is as dense and complex as anything prog ever produced. The band even wrote in the liner notes that the album was made with no commercial considerations. And it really does show. But for the adventurous ear, it's a treasure trove. Wild, cerebral, and deeply original. Now, album number 7, we return to Yes again, and their second album of the year, the Yes album. And they released 2 game-changing albums in 1971, and this was the one that really kicked the door open. With Steve Howe replacing Peter Banks, the band suddenly had a new voice, and really a new range. Starship Trooper, Yours Is No Disgrace, and I've Seen All Good People weren't just songs, they were missions.
Starship Trooper, go sailing on.
This is where the band really became what we think of as classic Yes. Those big ideas, that tight musicianship, and really a confidence that they could do whatever they wanted and get away with it. Let's talk about some honourable mentions. Of course, 1971 was packed with gems. Some are celebrated. Others really are still waiting to be discovered. A Caravan released in the land of the grey and pink. Now, the Canterbury scene's crown jewel, whimsical, jazzy, and anchored by the 22-minute 9 Feet Underground track. It's equal parts fairy tale and fusion. Donalds and Giles released their self-titled album, and after leaving King Crimson, Ian MacDonald and Michael Giles created this warm, melodic, and underrated gem. Think King Crimson, but with sunshine and romance. King Crimson themselves, they released Islands, and this is a divisive record, but a necessary one. It was fragile, chamber-like, and full of quiet beauties. It's Crimson's softest and possibly strangest moment yet. How about Focus and Moving Waves? Dutch prog at its finest includes that yodeling-laced anthem Hocus Pocus and the 22-minute Sweet Eruption. It's wild, varied, and incredibly fun. Curved Air released their second album. Sonia Christina's haunting vocals and Daryl Way's violin make this album a standout. A blend of prog, psych, and classical with theatrical flair. Saw and their self-titled. This was a cult classic, mellotron-heavy, organ-driven, and darkly melodic. Imagine early Crimson colliding with proto-metal. Definitely worth tracking down if you get a chance. And then there's Beggar's Opera, Waters of Change. Some Baroque rock here with a Scottish twist. Lush keyboards, dramatic vocals, and really a cinematic scope. So, how have you gone on? How many of these masterpieces have you lived through? Which ones changed your ears forever? Which do you think still deserve more love? Now, I need your help here. Drop your favourite 1971 prog albums into the comments And let's build the ultimate time capsule for this year if we will. Now I have created a playlist for these 1970 years, which I will link in the description, which also includes some extra info on the video and more about my channel. Now I hope you will take a moment to check it out if you can. And don't go too far away. 1972 is just round the corner, and this is when things get even wilder. I'll be diving into that year very soon, and if you're enjoying the deep cuts, remember to give this video a thumbs up and a like. Now the video I have on screen now is the very first one I shot in this series. Watch that one next, and I'll see you over there.